Good afternoon, almost afternoon, everyone. My name is Kat Hudson, and I'll be the one hosting our session today for CWT Live. So I'd like to take a moment to welcome everyone into the event, and thank you so much for joining us today. Before we start our panel discussion, just a few things around today's session. We have some open questions, and you'll be able to ask the panel some questions as we go through. So if you use at the bottom of your screen there's a Ask a Question link, and you can type your questions in there, and we'll either ask the panel or try to answer those. If there's anything we don't get to during the session today, we'll follow up with those answers after the fact. All right, so thank you again, everyone, for joining us. I get to host this amazing session today with the lovely ladies. We have Beth, Angela, and Sarah joining me today to discuss a little bit about what CWT means to them and what life has been like during the pandemic and maybe what life will be like after the pandemic. One of the things that we've done over the past year as we've been in lockdown and had to move from a very animated and fun on-site presence is really take a look at our mission and our vision and what we want to do for the women and any male allies that are across our network. And so we've really taken a look at our mission and updated it a bit. So our new mission now is our mission is to act as a community partnership which aims to affect change, inspire members, promote gender inclusivity across the technology industry in the UK. And so with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and open it today. Thank you again for joining us. And maybe starting with you, Angela, tell us a little bit about yourself and what our new mission means to you.
Hi, thanks, Kat, and really good to have the opportunity to speak at the conference. It's been long in the planning, so thank you for everyone for supporting us. So just a little bit about me. I work in IBM in our partner ecosystem technical engagement team. And I've spent the last 4 years leading IBM's developer advocacy programs in the UK and Europe. Just a little bit of background, I'm actually an arts graduate in English and sociology, but took a really early interest in technology during my spare time and have kind of developed my skills in computing, business and media along the way. So I've had lots and lots of varied jobs and kind of started off in Hewlett-Packard actually as a sales engineer. So it's been really great. Well, I've been working with the Connecting Women in Technology group for just over a year now and working on the events program. And really, I think, you know, been working on our new mission. And I think really for me, the most important aspect of our vision has been how we bring the community together via educational and informative activities. So I've been working on our events program, and this is one of those events that we've been running this year. So that's what it means to me.
Fantastic. Thank you, Angela. And Beth, over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what our new mission means to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Beth from Avaya. So I represent Avaya in the CWT community. I've been working in the CWT committee for over 6 years now. So I think I'm one of along with Sarah, one of the longest standing members. I've been at Avaya for just over 6 years, always been in technology companies, although like Angela, I also did an arts degree. I did a degree in photography, which I guess is a lot of technical elements to it. So and then I went on to become an engineer. I now work in operations and managed services, and we deliver cloud services for our customers. So CWT, there's lots of things that it does. I think the last year it's been very different. We've not been able to meet face to face, obviously. We've had a lot of new team members come onto the committee. It's definitely been re-energized this year. We've got new members, we've got some new logos coming out soon, and some new mission statement that we've just touched on. But for me, I think the thing that I've got out of it, especially over the last year, is collaborating with businesses we are competing in products and services, but when it comes to gender equity and moving forward, we all work together and we can learn what each other's doing in our organisations, and that's helped me. Avaya UK, although Avaya globally is very big, Avaya UK is smaller than some of the other companies, so it's been really useful to me to find out what other people are doing and share the information.
Yeah, Beth, I think you touched on something very important, right? Our companies might be competing, but on a human level, right, we're all connected and we're all there to support each other. So it's been very nice. And as a new member, thank you, because I feel very welcome in the team. So
It's made a big difference to me in this last year, meeting up with everybody and, well, online, obviously. Hopefully we can meet face to face soon.
And Sarah, over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what the new mission means to you?
Great, thank you. So I'm Sarah Robinson. I'm from Intel. I've been at Intel 21 years. It's kind of scary, but in many, many different roles. And I'm probably from Beth and Angela. I've got a computer science degree, so I'm maybe the odd one out of this of this group. So I manage I'm in sales and marketing, but I actually manage an engineering team. So my team work really closely with our customers to actually get our products to work with theirs. So, but I'm not an engineer, I'm more of a software person, and I manage a hardware team. So they're telling me and teaching me things that I'm learning new stuff all the time, which is great for me. What does CWT mean for me? Well, I've been involved. Well, I've been attending events from the start, and we've been, I think, running 11 or 12 years. But I came part of the board, I don't know, probably 5 years ago, because I've always been excited. I've always enjoyed the events. I've always learned something new, and I've built a network from these events. And in the last year, that's even more so. You know, the word that really resonates for me, and it's similar to Beth in a sense, is the collaborate word. We've got some new people, even though the companies are the same, some new people. And I've loved really learning from each of you. You know, I'm embarrassed sometimes by the things I don't know and don't do very well, and I think, oh, you guys do this so much better than we do, or I do. So just collaborating, re-energizing the connecting women technology, and learning from each other's, and just building that broader network has been my passion all along. But in last year, it's been great to kind of reinvigorate that. So that's what it means to me.
That's fantastic. And I feel your pain. I'm part of the server hardware engineering team here at Dell. And I didn't come in as a hardware engineer. I'm a psychologist by degree. And yes, it has been quite the learning. So I feel your pain. Maybe we can compare notes already.
Maybe.
All right. Absolutely wonderful. So kind of getting into lockdown, you know, we were heading towards the end of lockdown, and now it sounds like there's no end in sight after all. Guess we'll find out a bit more this afternoon. But maybe starting with you, Beth, you know, what did you miss the most while you were in lockdown before, you know, lockdown happened?
That's a difficult one, because I think we can probably all list lots and lots of things that we missed. Obviously, the face-to-face contact. We were discussing this last week in preparation for today's meeting, and I think I said that I always thought I'm a sociable person, but I like to have my own time, and I'm quite introverted. But I think that I've reached the limit of that, and I've realised that connecting with people face to face is more important to me than I probably thought it was. Another thing I've missed is when we went into lockdown, my son was 12. He's now 14, just as we're starting to do stuff again. So for me as a mum, I feel a little bit cheated that the last few years before he's fully into the teenage stuff, I've kind of missed some stuff there to be able to do with him. So we're trying to make up for that now. Thankfully, he's still happy to do stuff with us, but yeah, time is limited on that, I think. But yeah, probably the same as most people. It's the face-to-face stuff and being able to plan things. That's what I've struggled with as well. I'm not much of a planner. I like to do things last minute, but again, I've learned that I do need to have something to look forward to and something to plan. And I've struggled not knowing what we're doing and when. We're going on holiday this summer, hopefully, and just in the UK, but you just never know. And I think there's that level of uncertainty that is hard to live with sometimes.
It sounds like, though, you learned a little bit about yourself during lockdown as well. You kind of said you were always a little introverted, maybe weren't always so keen on social events, and now you realize you missed some of that social interaction. So maybe you're not, you know, maybe you're more of a social person than you thought you were.
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been sociable and out there and doing stuff, But when I come back in, I'm like, I need to re-energize myself on my own. I like spending time on my own, but I've never spent so much. I'm living with my family, not living on my own, but I've never spent so much time not going out there and socializing, and I really missed it. And I was surprised, because often I'm so busy and going out and seeing people, I try and create that time for myself because I need it. Well, it was always there for the last year or so, and I actually missed the social part. So yeah, that was really interesting for me. Although I don't think the Zoom chats and catching up with family make up for that at all. It was something that we did to get through it, but I think that I've learned as well that face-to-face is really, really important, and in business as well. I can't wait until, as a CWT community, we can all get together again and see each other. It will make a big difference.
I struggled on the lack of handshake. So when we did go out and we did, some sort of, I still do it to this day. I will put my hand out, and then when someone looks at me, I'm like, oh, rude. And then I'm like, oh no, COVID. So I have a really rough time accepting that you can't shake hands and that it's a weird elbow chat. It's very awkward for me. I find it very rude. I feel like we've almost required to be socially rude in order to keep social distance, and I find that very awkward. I've had a rough time.
It's just the social contact, isn't it? It's so natural to have a hug. And I don't know if anybody else has found this, but we have been able to hug recently. And those hugs, when you have them, they're so emotional. They've been really, really emotional. And that's something that I missed. I didn't realise, because when you meet up with friends, you always give them we always hug, and it's just normal. And to not have that, that's been strange and difficult. Yeah.
Maybe I'm the opposite way around. I'm not much of a hugger, actually. Apart from very close family and my husband, obviously, and so therefore it's quite a good excuse not to hug people.
Yeah. I think people have enjoyed that. Yeah, some people, you need to get you can wear all those wristbands with a red on it. There's
don't hug me, I'm not sociable.
Yeah, keep your distance.
So when we do get to meet each other, realise that don't hug.
Oh no, Sarah, we're having a hug.
It'll be a big group hug with Sarah in the middle.
Yeah.
So Sarah, how has it been for you? What do you think you missed most during lockdown?
I think similar apart from the hugging, similar in lots of ways. But I think for me, it's that informal connection. It's the walking down the corridor and seeing people, and then going, "Oh, what are you working on, or what are you doing?" And then connecting those dots. I mean, that's so hard, because you can't do informal connections with like Zoom or Teams or whatever. You have to kind of schedule something in somebody's calendar, and then it's not informal. And then they go, "What do you want to talk to me about?" "Well, I just want to have a chat." Or what's the gossip go? If you're standing at the, I'm not going to say water cooler because that's such a
coffee machine,
tea kettle, tea machine. You have a chat and you catch the gossip. I mean, now you have to kind of put a meeting in to catch the gossip, which is a bit weird. I do have those meetings, but that for me is that informal connection and not just for catching gossip, but actually being able to connect dots at work and being able to say, "Oh yeah, I'm working on something similar." For me, we've lost that, and it's going to be very difficult to eventually get that back.
Yeah, we used to have team meetings on walks, so we would go for a walk every day for 20-30 minutes, and I always say we solved the world on our walks. And now I have to start trying to schedule in a virtual walk, and it's just not going well. It just seems awkward. It's very forced, right? So to your point, yeah. It's very, you miss that kind of casual, you run into someone. At the same time, I've also noticed I generally don't exchange information with strangers. So if you're in the store, I acknowledge you, I say hello, but I would not tell you anything. And I found myself yakking with random people in the store now. And I thought, who have I become? What's happened? This is not, I usually let other people talk. I don't share.
To people.
Yeah. And Angela, so how has it been for you? What do you think you missed most?
Well, I think for me, I very similar to the others I that have mentioned, team working and being together. I think, I've heard I have team members that I have never met in person that are in my team. Not only have I never met them, but they have also then left the company, and I've never actually, and I'll never meet them probably. So they've actually come and gone within that sort of 18-month period of time, and we've never had a chance to say hello or goodbye. So which is kind of really weird, as you know, our team has always been really, really close. So, and I guess from a personal level, there have been a couple of times where you know, the poignancy of what lockdown really means. So my father died during lockdown, and I wasn't able to go to his funeral, and actually we didn't even have a proper funeral because it didn't seem, it was just too sad to do via Zoom, really. And things like my son going to sixth form, you know, his sixth form prom was cancelled, and all the things that your child, you know, those moments in life which hopefully they'll cherish later, those things have been cancelled for him. And so it's, my heart goes out to him and my mum and all my family. So those are the poignant moments, really. But
yeah, I think there's been, you know, this past year, there's been a lot of sadness, but I feel like we couldn't be there for people we cared about the way we would like to. I had to do a Zoom funeral. It was very awkward. Not gonna lie, I associate Zoom with business and maybe some fun, or if somebody uses House Party, you play lots of games. But it was very awkward doing it, you know, being in the church via Zoom and not being able to hug people that you'd like to hug and stuff like that. So definitely has been an interesting, I think, challenging year for all of us. Thank you, ladies, for that. I think we can all connect. You know, Beth, you had mentioned some positives as well during lockdown, where you are, you know, you kind of noticed, hey, like, I want to get out there and be a little more social, things like that. So maybe starting with Sarah this time, were there any changes that occurred during lockdown that you think will stay with you, that you're determined to keep moving forward as we maybe one day come out of lockdown?
So for me, I probably don't have the largest commute, but I have it's about 25 miles each way for me. So it took me about 40 minutes to get to the office and back. And I've used that time to exercise. And so I'm probably one of those unusual people that actually lost weight over lockdown. I lost 3 stone over lockdown. And so when I go back to the office, I use my commute time to exercise. And so I'm now thinking, how am I going to balance that as we come back, so I don't end up kind of going back to bad habits of just sitting in the car and sitting in traffic. So that's going to be one of my challenges as we come back. So
good on you. I was determined to do that. It worked the other. I just ate. I've eaten, I think, the whole year. So I'm having to catch up now. Yeah, good on you. And Beth, what about you? What do you think what will you try to help stay with you?
What I hope is going to stay, and I think that the conversations about this is going to be happening more and more, and it already is flexible working. Mm-hmm. For the technology companies, we were probably the quickest to get on board with the flexible working and be able to work remotely. It wasn't probably a big deal for our companies, but for a lot of people, I think it probably was. They didn't have that set up. They weren't able to do it, so they had to do it quite quickly. And now they've proved for over a year that you can work remotely and you can get the job done. And what I'm hoping is, especially for women, is that flexible working becomes more of a standard. We get rid of the working from home comments that often are associated with not really working, because we can work from home, we can work from wherever we need to be, and it can be flexible. So I'm hoping that stays and the conversation continues around that, because I think that's going to be a real benefit to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I used, we were very, again, hardware engineering, there's a lot of lab work, so we were very in the office type of people. And, you know, I used this time to not only prove that I can do my function in there remotely, but to move completely remote, so I could be there for family. You know, that was probably one of the biggest. So even when everybody goes back, I'm forever working from home. So for me, that's probably been the biggest change. However, I have not figured out a healthy routine like Sarah. So I'm still trying to sort all that, you know, what that looks like for us. So that's been quite rough. Angela, anything that you think will stay with you, or that you hope to kind of carry forth?
I think the connection that I have with my local community, they have become my sort of family, my substitute family, if you like. So my neighbours, my local friends, the friends of my son from his school, they have become my family. So I've made much closer family relationships, if you like, with that extended network within my local community, and also the opportunities to volunteer and help people. I've done a lot more volunteering. I've had more time. I've not spent it doing exercise. I wish I had, but I have spent my time volunteering. So I'm treasurer from our local church. I've been doing drop-offs of prescriptions and groceries during the true lockdowns. So being that that's given me a feeling of well-being that I might have lost otherwise being at home, and it's given me an excuse to go out and kind of meet other people by those volunteering jobs. So yeah, that's been really good.
That's fantastic. That's actually a really fantastic use of the extra time as well. Getting an opportunity to volunteer, and I'm sure that helps you connect as well and stay connected rather than feeling a bit isolated and
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. So as we kind of move back, I was hoping that today, like, it was a great day. It was going to be lockdown free the 21st. Can you guys tell I'm a bit sad? I'm very sad. Like, I just moved, I moved to England between lockdowns from Republic of Ireland to England, and Ireland was in lockdown as I moved over, and then England went into lockdown as I got here. So that was from lockdown to lockdown. And Republic, so I had COVID February of last year, right, when the crisis first started, and they weren't testing it because they were still in denial. And so I told my husband, I said, I've been actually between bed rest from being sick and lockdowns. I've been locked down for almost a year and a half. And so I was so excited. I was like, yes, I get to go explore. I get to go meet all these new people. I mean, the neighbors in my close are fantastic, but I'd like to get out and meet new people and all these things. And so I'm a bit sad that I don't quite get to go explore the way that I want to. But rather everyone be safe than just rushing back to everything. So that's understood. But how do you think that you'll start transitioning back into what it was like, or do you think that, speaking of commutes and all those things, I think I kind of made a joke last time that that the English queue a lot. Maybe the queues will get longer because we'll have more space. I don't know, but maybe Angela, starting with you, how do you think you'll transition back, or do you even want to transition back?
Well, I'm not sure going back is something that anybody really wants to do. Life has a tendency to move forward. So, the new normal, the new way of working, I think will be quite different. That sort of hybrid way of working, I think, particularly for us in tech, is very familiar for us. But I think it's going to be, that's going to be even more so. I think building that confidence gradually to be in more crowded environments. I kind of live in a semi-rural community, so I've not seen a queue much. I get most things delivered, and I've not really mixed with too many people outside my sort of immediate bubbles. So building up that confidence is something. Well, I'm going to start that this week, actually. I think we're going on a very 2-night break to the Cotswolds, and so it'll be first time that I've kind of really mixed indoors with anybody that's not known to me. So I think building up that confidence bit by bit is something that we're fortunate to do. There are many others, I think, that have to go to the office and are doing that commute already, and my sort of admiration for all those people that have battled through and continue to work and do those commutes. So I think baby steps for those that have the choice to do that is possibly, well, the way I'm going to handle it anyway.
Do you think there's a bit of maybe anxiety involved in going back to the way that things were now that we're all a bit used to not being around everyone and not?
Yeah, but I think there is quite a lot of anxiety. I certainly, if I was in a like a indoor shopping center with a lot of people, big crowds, which previously wouldn't have bothered me at all, I would feel quite, I probably would find the next and get out. So I think sort of it's not used to seeing a lot of people all in once is certainly is going to be going to cause me some anxiety as well. And I think that is common for the people I've spoken to.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I find myself too, when there's too many people in Tesco, I'm already like, okay, time to go. I'll do my shop later. So yeah, I'm there. Yeah, I find I'm a bit nervous about the idea. Sarah, how about you? I mean, you know, are you ready to transition back? What does that look like for you?
I mean, very similar. I mean, my team, as I said earlier on, they're hardware engineers, so they have been going in. We have a lab, and they have been throughout this lockdown. They've been going in, but we at Intel have just started talking a little bit more about bringing more people back, and I had a very open and honest conversation with my management chain that says, I'm not comfortable with this, and you know, the concept of wearing a mask all day, I just didn't like the idea of literally sitting for 8 hours with a mask on. And so, you know, a little bit like Angela, the conversation we're having is about baby steps. I've never met my team. I took over my team in October. I've never met my team. I've never met my manager. So I do want to meet my team, but I'm not desperate to run back in the office. And so what we'll probably do is we'll probably have like a staff meeting, get to meet everybody, but not ask everybody to be in the office all day, certainly at the start, because I think we have to build that confidence and trust and get people to be comfortable and I'm not comfortable personally wearing a mask all day. That's just me being very honest, and I've said that to my team, and I'm sure there's lots of people that feel that way, but there will be other people that will be desperate to meet each other and desperate to get that connection. So I think that's going to be the challenge, to balance that anxiety with other people that are very excited to meet each other as well.
Absolutely. I think that's a very fair statement, right? Is really finding that balance, because for some people they don't mind, but I think like you, I don't see the point in me going to the office and wearing a mask all day long when I don't really have to. You know, it's you know, I know some people don't have the choice, and hats off to them, but I feel if I have the choice, I should be able to kind of play, right? And having had COVID once before, I don't want it again. So I'm very cautious, I think. And Beth, same question kind of out to you. How are you moving forward?
What I'm looking forward to, what I'm hoping happens, I think there's been enough research now to know that the COVID crisis has had a disproportionate impact on women's careers. On balance with that, I do hope that it gets a conversation moving on women's careers, and hopefully that because it's been disproportionate, there'll be more research done and the conversation will continue. With flexible working, I'm hoping that there can be changes as well. What we've seen is the understanding that everybody has home lives. I love these types of situations where you can have a good look and see what people have got in their rooms and things, and learn a bit more about the people. And yeah, so it's nice to learn a little bit, and you can strike conversations up and find out new things about people, as well as obviously the homeschooling with people that have children. It's normal life, and I'm hoping that there's a more confidence, specifically with women, because I think with men it's already there. I think with men it's a lot easier to say, oh, I'm not going to be here for a couple of hours because it's sports day, I'm going to go and watch for an hour or so, or whatever. There's more comfortableness for men to do that because I think they're seen as hands-on dads, and it's a more positive thing. But as a mum, I've found that difficult over the years to have that balance and to actually speak of it. But now we can see each other's lives a lot more, and there's more acceptance with the kids running in and out, and it's easier. So what I'm hoping is that it becomes easier for women to be parents and to be open about being parents, rather than feeling like they're going to be treated negatively because of it. Because I think there's a real imbalance there of how a man is seen, that it's a hands-on dad, and isn't it great, he's picking the kids up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever. I think it's not the same when you're female. So I'm hopefully for the mums that have got younger children, mine's growing up now, but hopefully it'll be easier for them to have that balance.
Do you think that lockdown is an opportunity to change the perception of work-life balance and maybe put a bit more focus on life and companies, enabling employees to maybe spend more time with life than just work?
I'm hoping it's made people look at their domestic situations and job shares within the home. I know we touched on this last week during the planning session for today. And when you have got couples living together, a male and a female, it's really interesting to start that conversation of who's doing what in the house, especially when you've got two people that are working and who is doing what. And I know that a lot of my friends with husbands, a man has automatically got the office and the woman's at the table homeschooling the kids and working. So it's those sort of conversations that I think it's become more obvious what's happening in the house, because I think that you won't get equality and equity until it is in the house, and until there's that shared parenting and shared responsibilities in the home, rather than feeling like you're lucky if you've got somebody that does stuff around the house, to have somebody to actually have that acknowledgement that it's not our jobs to be doing this. This is a household that needs stuff doing. There's children that need parenting. It's just stuff that should be shared. And until we have that in our homes, this is my view, I think it's harder in the workplace, because if you're in the workplace and the school rings, they'll usually ring the mum.
Yeah.
And it's when you change that balance, that's, I think, when we're going to move forward in the workplace. And I'm hoping that COVID brings out those conversations more.
I think that's very fair. I know Sarah and I, we don't have young children in our household, and so we were sharing a bit, right? And Sarah, I believe your husband does the cooking, your partner does the cooking, mine does the laundry, and I was like, I wish mine did some cooking, yeah. But it is very much, and it's mine too. I say, he helps around the house, when in reality we're two working adults that both work full time. We should just be doing stuff around the house that needs doing, right? To your point. And I think it's that's the choice of words, I think, is a good start, right, for ourselves. And I think we can influence that, instead of saying, hey, you help around the house. Your kids help around the house, right? Your partner should just be a mix, right? Unless you have an agreement that you really want to do that. I mean, there's certain things that I tell my husband he's not allowed to do because he's terrible at it, and I'd rather just do it myself. And that's okay. Don't put my laundry away. It's color coded and things, and you don't do it right. You don't know your colors, right? So, but that's my choice, and that's okay. That should be allowed. But to your point, I mean, it is hard to be home with that person all the time, right? Or with multiple people all the time. To be honest, I don't know all the working parents out there who are working from home and have children running amok. I don't know how you do it. I get overwhelmed. I have fur babies. I've got 4 dogs, 5 cats, a bunny, and a whole lot of fish. And I think that's exhausting. And I don't know what I would do with little me's running all over the place, bombing into, like, when I watch the videos of the newscasters trying to do their interviews from home and the kids are running, I just think, but I also think that's great, because we get a chance to remember that everyone's human. Like, there's things outside of work that we all have applications for. And I think it's important. And to your point, Beth, maybe we'll get back a little bit more to that. I want to Sarah and Angela, I want to ask you guys as well. Has your perception of work-life balance changed as a result of being locked down, and I guess always being in the work and in the life at the same time?
Let me make a comment before I answer that question. I think just the commentary about seeing people's children running into the rooms, or husbands in the background, or partners in the background, or pets, the amount of time people have got their cat walking across the keyboard, or I think it just makes things more human. And that's one of the things I do love about this. I mean, I don't necessarily like the fact that we don't get to see each other or meet each other, but the reality that is we all have a home life and we all have things going on, and getting to see them just makes us a bit more realizing that people are human. And I know that sounds a bit stupid, but just what's going on in the background, and it's a bit of a good laugh. So I like that. So what was work-life balance? That was the question. I did a lot of, I think I did a lot of working from home before COVID. even though I probably shouldn't say that because Intel had a policy you needed to be in the office. But I had a US manager. I did a lot of work with the US and a lot of work with India. And therefore, driving all the way to Swindon to sit at a desk to talk to people in India and the US just was a bit strange. So I just flexed my time and did what I needed to do. So I didn't find that very difficult. And I have a room, my office, which is a spare bedroom, nothing too fancy, where I'm very lucky. I can shut the door. I'm finished. I turn my laptop off and I shut the door. I know not everybody has that. Some people I know work from their bedrooms, or they work from their kitchen tables, or they don't have that luxury. And so I've been quite lucky that I do have that setup. I had a good setup before all this, and I just carried it on. And I'm quite disciplined. I do shut the door. I do turn one out, and I shut that door, and I'm done. But I know not everybody has that luxury. So it's been okay for me.
Yeah. So on the, I agree with all of the stuff that's been said around work-life balance, and I think that I've done quite a bit of working from home as well. But I always felt when I went into the office, I was kind of like a slightly different version of me, and almost like going on stage, almost like I would wear a different outfit. I would, before I walked onto the, the big floor of the office, I would, check my hair and, make sure I looked okay and all of that kind of stuff. So I think that's become a little bit more blended with the sort of the new style of working, but change in a way that, the use of cameras. So I think often when we were doing conference calls, even if it was on Zoom or WebEx, a lot of people would have their cameras switched off. And now there is kind of a bit of a pressure, I think, to reveal that true you and to switch those cameras on. And some people use their blurry backgrounds, but I do feel there's a little bit of pressure actually to have that intrusion in your life, to see that person. You almost expected to, you need to have someone to walk on. You say, can you come and walk on? It's like, I don't know whether is it the true me. I actually don't know anymore whether I'm the true me in my own home. So because I used to have that separation. So, but maybe that's just a consequence of modern life. To get the benefits of working from home, you have to be able to blend a little bit better and bring aspects of your personal life, but still it's not the true me on the camera, but it's that sort of blending. So I think that it's all we're learning, I think, how to do this well, that makes sure that we still retain a real personal life as well, that's not part of our work. And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge is deciding, what aspects of yourself you kind of keep from the camera, just as you might have kept it if you walked onto the office floor when the delineation was a lot clearer. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think when you go into the office, you do dress a certain way and you behave a certain way and you do things maybe a little bit differently. Some people are uncomfortable with all the people there. We had cubes, and I had to be very conscientious because I had tech support on the other side of my cube wall. So where we would have a lot of fun and joke and do some very animated brainstorming sessions on how to fix product defects, we had to kind of keep it down because the customers could hear us on the other side through supports. And so, where now we can kind of have those in a bit more of an open fashion. I mean, you guys know, a lot of times in your products, there's certain IP you can't reveal even within the company. And so we'd also be those awkward people who'd be sitting there huddling and whispering, or trying to find a room real quick to go have this conversation. And so it's been, that part I think has been a little different for us. And then it's funny, I work with a lot of our guys they're all engineers, they're all technical people, so they all dress down, they all wear jeans, t-shirts, and everything's fine. But now that we're remote, they won't turn on their cameras because they're worried about their hair. I thought that was the weirdest. I was like, really, guys? Come on, now we're having like the session. They're like, no, I haven't had my hair cut in ages. You can't see that. And I thought, okay, but I'm wearing a hoodie, the sweats, my hair's just up. So it's been kind of interesting to see that, right? It turns out that people that I thought just weren't really that keen on that sort of thing really do care about their hair and how they look, and so it's been quite an interesting, I guess, peek into their personal life that we didn't have so much before. Angela, I know you can see. Is there any questions in there from the audience? I don't want to.
Nobody's asked a question. I can't believe that that's true. So I'm sure someone has some thoughts or inputs. I've done a couple of polls there for people to vote about what they've missed and have you ever been to one of our events before. But yeah, if you have any questions, either about the conference itself this week or any of the comments that we've made today, then use the button at the bottom, or you can type in the chat if you want to.
Yes, either one will work. Absolutely. So talking a little bit about this week, actually, while we're here, Beth, I know Avaya is hosting a session this week. Do you want to give us a little insight on what Avaya is going to be doing? I cannot recall which day. I believe you're on Wednesday.
That's right. Yeah, we've got a session running on Wednesday. And for those that came to the last face-to-face conference that we ran, it was hosted by Avaya in Guildford. And some of you may remember Nicola Parker that provided a session on coaching for leaders. Her session was the highest rated of the day. So we decided to get her back again to run a session remotely for us. So she's running one on Wednesday. It's going to be really, really good. It's on coaching and confidence. She set up something called She Rises since the pandemic because of the disproportionate impact on women's careers, and she's addressing that. So she's a career coach, but also does seminars as well. So yeah, if anybody that's free on Wednesday, please come along, because I know it's going to be really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all there.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I'm going to have to check that out. I'm going to mark off my calendar for that one. That actually sounds really cool. Thank you for that. Sophie put a comment there in the chat, ladies. I don't know if you've seen it. So she says, I have a concern as to how we will manage working hours when we get back into the office. Currently working from home, we seem to be expected to be available 24/7. I think that's a good one. And Sophie, I've definitely fallen under that trap. As you ladies know, I have weird, and by day 3 I'm exhausted. So Sarah, you'd mentioned you were very good at shutting the door and walking away. Can you maybe give us some tips on maybe starting that now while we're still remote, and maybe how we can juggle better as we move forward?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend, if you're not doing this now, I would do it. I mean, maybe I'm just a bit too controlled, but I actually block in my calendar when my end of my day is, so people don't. I mean, we all work globally, right? Most of us would do. So I have a slot in my calendar at a certain time, and it says family time, and so it's blocked. So if people then try and put meetings in my calendar at a certain time, they can clearly see I'm out of office. There's a bit of flexibility. If it's important, I will meet, but it's not a precedent that I'm setting. And then, I do stick to that. I treat my room, as I said, like my office. And so during my lunch break, I will walk away from that office and get away from the screen, and I will take breaks away. And I will, if I finish at 6, when my calendar says I'm finished at 6, I will walk away and be done by that. Now, I'm probably very controlled, but it's the same principle as what you would do at the office. So I think if you're not doing that, apply it. And again, I have luxury that I have a separate room, but if you don't have a separate room, turn your laptop off, put it somewhere in your bag, or just put it away and just leave it. The world won't end if you're not checking your email or you're not online. Sadly, we're all replaceable. And I don't look at my work, I don't look at my emails on my work phone unless it's the start of the day. So I don't know if anybody has got better best known methods, but that's how I work. And
I actually do it really. I think we're probably the opposite then, Sarah. So it's really interesting to hear that, because I really like I'm operational as well, so I'm kind of available 24/7. It's not. Some weeks are terrible, and I'm working crazy hours. up into the night, but that's rare. But I am available 24/7. I have my phone on me. I see emails at the weekend. I'll often respond at the weekend, but I have a different concept. So when my son comes back from school, say at 3 o'clock, he plays a lot of tennis. He plays tennis most nights, but I'll have a window where I can spend some time with him. So I'll spend some time with him at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock or whatever. Block some time out of my calendar for that. When he was younger, I might have gone to one of his assemblies, or my day is very much mixed between work and also the times of when I can spend it with my family, then I will do. But then I might be on my laptop answering some emails at 7 o'clock in the morning in my pajamas because I've just seen one come in. I can sort it quite quickly and then get on with getting ready, etc. So for me, that really works. And for some people, they need that switch off. But I like the fact that it is truly flexible, that I have no problem with spending some time at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon doing non-work stuff, because I know that I might be doing something later on, or, and I do work truly flexibly, and I'm always available. But I know that's not right for everybody.
And I think it's not either or, right? So you could do that flexibility, balancing whatever you need to do in your life with the discipline, but whatever works for everybody else, right? There's no right or wrong answers here. They're all what works for you. But I think it's, and again, it depends on your job. If you're operational, you need to be on call 24/7. That's a different model than I do, and I don't want to be on call 24/7.
Interestingly,
it might be an Avaya thing, because Claire Spinks from Avaya has said she does the same thing. So one thing I do like about Avaya, and I hope it's the same for you guys, we get treated as grown-ups. We get treated as, we just need to do the job, we need to deliver, and the old school days of clocking in and clocking out are over. That works for me because I get to spend time with family or see people that I may not be able to normally if I was in the office. It also works for Avaya because I can jump on something on a Saturday afternoon, or in the evening someone could call me, and that's how I work it.
I think there is a role to play, though, by our employers. As individuals, we can try our own strategies to try and work around that, but I think there is a responsibility of our employers to help us to be able to do that. And interestingly, on the question and answers section here, we've got a comment by Joanna, and she says at HPE there is a block out of time for lunch between 12 and 1, and at the end of the day is 12 to sort of 5 to 5:30. And as a company, they try to be mindful and respectful of that, and that's become part of their culture. And I think there is a role to play by employers to do that, and that's great, Joanna, and thank you for sharing that. There is a role to play, and I think at IBM we try things. I think certainly in the summertime there is a sort of Fridays, a sort of not free Fridays, but certainly no meeting Fridays, where conference calls and sort of WebEx meetings like this would be kind of try our very, very best not to do that, to give people some time on a Friday afternoon to be able to do their thing. And we've also tried Tuesdays as well. Free Tuesdays are harder. So Friday is okay, we can do Friday, but Tuesdays in the middle of the week. But actually, trying to do a Tuesday is a challenge. But to be able to at least release people from the sort of back-to-back conference calls from that aspects, and give time people to think, to do some education, or to do some family stuff, to be able to block out some time is something I think as an employer, IBM try to do, obviously HP are trying to do as well, but building that into the sort of cultural norm, I think there is a great deal that our employees can help us to be able to achieve that work-life balance.
Yeah, my boss is, the same way in our department. We get treated as adults. You work when you need to work. But my boss also says, on the days if there's nothing to do, just go, because at some point you're going to have to work extra hours, right? So that's kind of how he feels about it, which is great for most people. However, I lack discipline of being able to shut off. So I don't know, Sophie, you might be in my boat, but I have a really hard challenge with that. And so that's resulted in me always being available. when really I probably don't need to be honest. And so I actually got a lot of anxiety not being available to people and not helping them all the time, but just always wanted to help. And so it's been a concerted effort between my boss and myself to actually make me shut off. So, in the summers, our business unit gets summer hours. So Fridays from 2 p.m. onward, we are to log off, go away, unless something is on fire. You just do your own thing. So I've actually blocked that out of my calendar. I've been better at not logging in early in the morning to make sure that China and all those that side of the world is taken care of. I kind of make them wait until the end of their day, which is kind of a more normal time when I come out. So, but it's been a very big effort. And my boss has been part of that. But I remember when I got COVID, I was in the ambulance. This is insane. I was in the ambulance and I was so worried about work. And my husband was like, for crying out loud, woman. At that time, we thought we had a heart attack. It attacked my heart at the time. So, and I was so concerned about work. And my husband was like, what are you doing? And he took my phone and he texted my boss. And so between my husband and my boss, they had to partner up against me so I wouldn't work. My husband confiscated my phone. I was like, I'm not a child. And he's like, will you work? And I was like, well, yeah, from bed, on bed rest. Like but it was so like, and that expectation doesn't even exist from my boss. And I still felt like I had to meet that because I'm always home. And so I think, you're right, Angela, the employers have to help. And I think we also need to find the right balance for us and make more of a concerted effort and really work for our own anxiety to know, like, it's okay. It's okay to not be available. It's okay to have a life. It's okay to walk your children to school. It is absolutely okay to log off and make dinner. I mean, whatever that is, to do the laundry. So, yeah, I think, Sophie, that's a really good discussion. It definitely is a big challenge, and I think something that we'll have to get used to. I want to make sure that we kind of address some of the other sessions that we have coming this week as well. Angela, do you want to talk us through maybe a little bit what IBMs do? I cannot remember what day you guys have. I'm so sorry.
That's okay, Kat. So my session is tomorrow at 2:00, and it's all around tech for good. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about how to get involved with tech for good initiatives, talking a little bit about what we do at IBM to support that, and over our sort of 4-year campaign that I've been running within the company to sort of bring new innovations to help with not-for-profit organizations. So I'll be also introducing on that session a team that have come with a new innovation, which was from a challenge that we did at the end of last year, that is all around racial justice and around helping alleviate racial biases online. So a very interesting tech talk from that team around the specific artificial intelligence that they have built to help support racial justice challenges. So that's all about tech for good, then at 2:00 tomorrow.
That's fantastic. This is like a great week. I feel like I'm gonna be flexing my work a lot this week. And Sarah, do you want to walk us through what Intel is doing this week? I believe you guys are Thursday.
We are June 16th. So what's that? Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, sorry.
Wednesday. That's okay. I had to pull it up myself to remind myself. So Angela talked about tech talks. So we've run a number of tech talks across CWT throughout the year, and this is a similar topic. 5G, I think, is probably relevant to all of our companies and is getting more pervasive. And so we are going to talk about 5G, just understanding what is it, where is it playing, how are all companies and technologies utilizing it, and where it's going. So if you're just interested in the industry acumen and what's happening with there, please join us. That is June the 16th, 11 till 12.
Fantastic. And if you're interested in any of those sessions, you'll just want to click those links that Angela's put them in the chat there for us. Thank you very much, Angela. And they're also in the initial invite. So just mark off those times. When you click those links, it'll actually do a calendar invite for you and save that on your calendar. For Dell, we're offering 2 sessions this week for I Am Remarkable. The class is capped at 25 people because it is quite the intimate session, and it is full for both classes. However, if we have a lot of interest, we'll look at maybe doing some additional sessions. I Am Remarkable was initially started by Google, and the idea is really to explore your own biases and to help overcome those to create equality and comfort and inclusivity for all our companies. So it's quite a fun session. We get to spend some time getting to know you as well, and just come ready to learn and with an open mind. For those sessions, there will be a Crowdcast link if you've signed up, but we'll also be sending out a Zoom session. So just to make sure, I think the Crowdcast platform records, and we want to make sure that the sessions aren't recorded. So we'll be moving those to a Zoom session. So we'll email those out to any of you who checked the little box to subscribe to notifications. You'll get that email, and if anybody hasn't, that's all right too. We'll make sure someone's in the Crowdcast to redirect you to the Zoom. All right, so that's pretty much wrapping up our session today. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us, or for joining me. I'm so excited. It's been such a good week. I know it was a lot of hard work to get this week put together. So thank you guys all for a good discussion. I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as I did.
Thank you, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you on the calls this week. It should be a good week, and let's take advantage of the fact that it is remote. It means you can dip in and out rather than having one day, which is really great when we all get together. It's brilliant seeing everybody. But the way we've done this is you can dip in and out of things that interest you. You don't have to commit to a full day. There's no traveling involved. It is easier to attend these things. So hopefully just make some time for yourselves and join the sessions, and look forward to seeing you there. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you.
Yep. Great to see you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.